conversation. And we may not agree with the presentation we're going to get. We may agree or not agree, but and passion's great. We just want to make sure we're all respectful along the way. All right, let's have the presidents of the South Tampa, West Tampa Chambers. Where are they? You guys want to come on up? All right, I'll let you each introduce your chambers.
Hi, good morning. I'm Kelly Flannery. I'm the very proud president and CEO of the South Tampa Chamber of Commerce. Joined here today. Great. Good morning. Happy Friday. Also joined here today by Blake Guthrie, the chair of our board of directors for 2026. The South Tampa Chamber is a membership association of nearly 700 local businesses and community leaders working together to make South Tampa the best place to live, work, and play. We give the opportunity for connection, education, leadership, and volunteerism, working together to make South Tampa the best place to live, work, and play while advocating on behalf of our community. Thank you so much to Cafe Con Tampa for the opportunity to be here this morning and to partner. It's been a while since we've been here. We look forward to coming back hopefully more often. And thank you for everything that you all do for the community. It means a lot to have people that are civic-minded gathered together to learn how we can all be better citizens and working together. So thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. I am Mary Beth Anglin. I am the new president and CEO of the West Tampa Chamber of Commerce. We are so excited to be here. Thank you, Cafe Con Tampa, for having us today. We are a 108-year-old chamber based in the heart of West Tampa, which at one time used to be its own city, but a lot of people don't know that. We basically do everything the same as South Tampa Chamber does and every other chamber in the business community. We would love to have you come check us out whenever you get a chance, and we love being here. Thank you so much for having us.
You know, as we always say at Cafe Con Tampa, collaboration is the way to move our community forward. And so we're thankful to these two other chambers for partnering with us. We could have had many more, but if you look around the room, we don't have space. So that's why we didn't have more chambers up here, and we apologize to them. I would like to point out real fast, McGray de Vega's here. Where's McGray? He's stand up in the back. He's a Rays fan, but he also is a pastor of Hyde Park United Methodist Church, which owns this facility that's used for any of you who haven't been here. This is the old First United Methodist Church, and Justin LaRosa is here too. See him. He's a pastor that's the head of the Portico, and I think Mindy is here who runs this. This is a social enterprise run by the church, so this is a meeting venue that used to be their congregation, and across this street they took their boring old pastors' residences and turned them into a coffee shop, and most or all the people that work there used to be homeless, and so it's a great ministry, a great way for people to find new homes. In fact, Mindy, the person who runs this, has got a great new job she's going to run off to. Above that is an incubator for nonprofits, including Love Inc., which helps help intercede when people have temporarily become homeless, to help them to get back on their feet again. So we thank them for partnering with us as well. So I will, are we ready on the AV? You guys ready?
Yeah. Fabulous.
Okay, there's a lot I can say about Ken, but I'll just quickly say Ken Babby, CEO, Tampa Bay Rays, and one of the principal owners. Thank you so much for joining our organizations that are here this morning.
Thank you. Thank you. I always find when I go to a microphone, I have to make it even shorter, so that's the only short joke I'm going to make today. First of all, I want to thank Councilman Carlson for being here. And for all the different chamber groups that sort of organized last minute to be here. And I especially want to thank all the folks in the room with Rays hats, Rays shirts, and everybody excited for Tampa Bay Rays baseball. I want to start this morning with a quick introduction, and I'm going to share a few slides. I hope I don't break all of the Cafe Con Tampa rules. I seek special permission just to share a couple of slides, but I want to share a little bit of an introduction with you. About 25 weeks ago, a group of partners, predominantly local partners here in Tampa, acquired our hometown baseball team, the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, I was up the road in Jacksonville, Florida, owning and operating a minor league team, the AAA affiliate of the Miami Marlins. I've spent more than 15 years in baseball. Growing up in the Washington, D.C. area, my father was the general counsel of the Baltimore Orioles, and he was the general counsel of the Orioles during a time period when there was no Major League Baseball team in Washington at all. Hard to believe our nation's pastime had no Major League Baseball team. And the Orioles' future was uncertain as they were playing in Old Memorial Stadium in a really poor, tough part of Baltimore. And the community acted. The community acted and built what is now, of course, known as Oriole Park at Camden Yards, a ballpark in Baltimore that changed not only baseball forever, but changed the city forever. And had billions of dollars of economic impact and had corporate headquarters moved to a region. That project was 100% publicly paid for back in 1992. And the wave of ballparks and developments that happened after Oriole Park was built started a movement that changed over 17 different cities in the country. And we can look to the examples in Pittsburgh with PNC Park. We can look to the examples of what happens when the community comes together to build a great public-private partnership. Tampa Bay is in that exact moment. And in fact, the ballpark that opened just before Oriole Park at Camden Yards in 1992 was Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. Communities have an opportunity to act, and all great American cities have Major League Baseball. And Tampa is in the precipice of a moment, an intersection of a moment, where we get to actually have a conversation today, not about baseball at all, but an opportunity to transform our city forever. The project that we're talking about is a project that brings the rejuvenation of Hillsborough College with a partnership with the state. And the president of Dale Mabry's Hillsborough College campus is in the room with us today. I can't be more thankful to her and the team, Dr. Atwater, the incredible team at Hillsborough College. But this is bigger than rejuvenating a college. We're talking about a project that has $55 billion of economic impact. We're talking about a project that's going to bring 12,000 new permanent jobs to our community. There's a but-for argument here, but not for the investment that we're bringing forward, and this ownership group is prepared to write a check for more than $1 billion towards the cost of this stadium, to the cost of this ballpark. This ballpark will be the largest privately contributed ballpark in Major League Baseball history. And we get a chance to have massive economic development in our region. Now, it's not without consternation, it's not without healthy debate and discussion, and that's why I'm here today. And I'm grateful for Councilman Carlson and the various chambers for giving us the opportunity to have a conversation with the community, because we want to be transparent and out and having those discussions out in the community to learn, to understand, to grow, to understand where our community has an opportunity to act. But in a few short weeks, our elected officials at both Hillsborough County and also at the City of Tampa will have an opportunity to make a decision. And it's a big decision for our community. To us, it has to be fair. If the ownership group of the Tampa Bay Rays is prepared to put in over $1 billion, take on 100% of the responsibility of the development with no public dollars around the ballpark, and on top of that, take on responsibility of 100% of the cost overruns of this project, it's got to be fair for everybody. And so projects like this have sort of a generational moment, have a generational opportunity. You know, as I said, if the project moves forward, we get a chance to do something that we believe Tampa's going to be proud of for 25, 30, 50 years, just like all those other great cities that I mentioned. If we don't, we have to find a new home in the Tampa Bay Rays. The beauty of this deal, the way we've approached it, the way that the Rays ownership has thought about this is a little bit different from previous ownership groups, and I think it's important to mention this. We're only having conversations here in Tampa. This is Tampa's deal. right? We're not in other cities, we're not in other markets. We want to do this here. I'll put it in the clearest of baseball terms. This is a fastball down the middle. And we believe it's right, we believe it's fair, we believe it's responsible, but we want to engage in great public discussion about why, how, who's paying for it, how is it going to be paid for, and those conversations are ongoing over the course of the next few days and weeks. And so I'm going to break the rules for a minute and share a couple of short slides, and then happy to answer any questions that the group has. I'm just going to step over here so I can follow along. Let's go to the next slide. Go ahead. We should have audio on that as well, hopefully. So I'll talk through it. What you're seeing is the Dale Mabry campus of Hillsborough College. 130-acre site, just adjacent to Dale Mabry, Raymond James Stadium, George Steinbrenner Stadium, the spring training home of the New York Yankees, who've been incredibly supportive of our work. A mixed-use development that will be funded 100% privately. A ballpark, a $2.3 billion ballpark that will stand the test of time as a ballpark that Tampa will be proud of. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. A mixed-use development that brings multifamily, affordable housing, job program, workforce creation, and a pipeline and new programming to Hillsborough College. Say hi to my friend Raymond, by the way. It's the but-for argument. $55 billion of economic impact, verified by not one but two different independent research firms. One that the county requested we hire. You see the airport to the left. So our work, just keep going through these, comes at the heels of nearly 25 years of uncertainty and fatigue around this question as to what the future of the Tampa Bay Rays is going to be. This is a team that has had starts, stops, renderings, videos, locations, Tampa, St. Pete, other places. This is for Tampa. And we want Major League Baseball to be right here. As I said about 25 weeks ago, along with my partners, Patrick Zalewski, Bill Cosgrove, many names that you'll recognize on our executive advisory board, stepped up because we believed in the future of Tampa. We believed in the future of Major League Baseball, and we believed in the future of what was possible by being bold. I always think, we were chatting recently with Jeff Finnick and the team at the Lightning, I don't think anybody in this room would have believed for a minute that Tampa, Florida could have been a hockey city. And look at what has happened. The community bought in, the city bought in, the fans bought in, and the infrastructure that is blown up around the arena, Water Street and beyond, is just a little small sample of what we're talking about with this project. A new ownership, a fresh approach, and I think the most important piece to this slide, a commitment to getting a deal done that's fair here in Tampa. It started as a conversation about a ballpark, and it emerged as a conversation about rejuvenating a college, bringing jobs to a community and beyond. On the screen, you see the partners and stakeholders that are working with us along this venture. Most of the groups on that board are doing that work right here. They wake up in the morning in Tampa, they go to sleep in Tampa. There are not a lot of folks on this slide that are out-of-towners that have flown in to do this work. Our master planning is local. We're working with the airport. We're working with the county, the city, roof designers, communications experts, and our neighboring sports teams, because we want to do what's right to bolster all of the teams in the community as well in this journey. Simply put, this is our moment. This is the moment that for 25 years, folks have asked questions about. I would again say all great American cities have Major League Baseball. Over 125 events a year, 10 million visitors per year to this development district. Again, not data that the Rays are putting out there, independent data that RCL Code, that the county has asked us to hire, has verified. to bring out to the community in terms of visitors. Now, 10 million annual visitors to this site brings a lot of questions about traffic and parking and how all that works. So we'll talk through that and the work that we're doing. The state of Florida has stood by us and said, in addition to the rejuvenation of the college, the state is going to invest in widening Dale Mabry, bringing additional pedestrian bridges, projects that the Bucks have asked for over a decade, but not for this project would not happen. Simply put. So the buzz is buzzing. I love this slide because we know the feelings of the commissioner, the mayor, others, regardless of your political leanings. This is a moment where the entire community has to come together. And the excitement from the community is overwhelming. While there are questions about financing, pricing, and how's it going to work, what's the roof going to cost, all great questions. We want to engage in those discussions. But the community wants this. Simply put, this is the first work, live, learn, play project of this magnitude in North America. There have been other mixed-use developments. We talk about the Battery in Atlanta. Folks hopefully have had a chance to go up to Atlanta and see the Braves facility. They don't have a college at the center of their campus. They don't have a workforce development program where students come off with their diploma, walking out of Hillsborough College, and get a job in a hotel, a restaurant, the baseball team, right? Directly a workforce pipeline with a contractual agreement that we have on building in place to be able to make sure that those students get first opportunity for jobs in the development. Our vision, simply put, is to develop an 8 million square foot development. It's a bold plan. Sports medicine, retail, hospitality, enhancing the experience when you go to a Bucks game with all of these new experiences, enhancing the experience of working when the Yankees have spring training games through the month of March and beyond. It's just a early rendering of some of our site massing that the team here in Tampa at Gensler has done. We think about this in different quadrants. Champions Quarter, of course, home of the Tampa Bay Rays, hotel, retail, development, talking to 2 different Fortune 500 companies about potentially moving their headquarters into the development. These are 2 companies not based in Tampa, not based in Florida, that would, but not for this project, would not even consider a move to Tampa and to be in this development. The economic impact on this project is so much more than baseball. The college in Innovation Edge on the corner with buildings with deferred maintenance that are in need of repair, in need of maintenance. The state is committed, it is in the budget. Those projects will move forward if this project moves forward. They will not move forward without this project. Folks like to compare our work with the Battery. 120 acres is what we're talking about here. It's actually a little closer to 130. If you've been to the Battery in Atlanta, where the Braves have built this brilliant mixed-use development, it's about 74 acres. Just gives you a sense of the kind of size. They've built out about 2 million square feet of that space. Our project, again, privately paid on the development, will be closer to 8 million square feet. We'll go through these a little quicker. Talked about our sense of place, public spaces, parks. 10 million annual visitors, 175 annual events. Baseball provides that. These are some of the early renderings of our work with Hillsborough College. We're really proud of this. Career pathways, campus community, real-world opportunities, built-in workforce development, new opportunities for students, and a ballpark that's designed for Tampa Bay. I'm going to stay on this slide for 1 second. What we're talking about with the ballpark is innovation. Imagine sitting on a summer night when it's really hot, with a thunderstorm. I'm ready. We go forward one more. Thank you. Feeling as if you're outside, seeing the planes flying above, the stars in the sky, or if there's a thunderstorm, lightning and thunder, with the cool comforts of being totally indoors. Not a retractable roof. We thought that wasn't responsible and cost too much. We removed that months ago as in our exploration. We talked to other teams and they said, creating a fixed roof, but a world-class roof, created the experience of feeling like you're outside, is perfectly fit for Tampa. E-board brick in her sides, making sure that it is clear when you sit on a beautiful night in the ballpark that you know you're in Tampa. Feeling like you're on the outside. And of course, the forever home of the Tampa Bay Rays. That gentleman on the left is my friend Junior Caminero. Hopefully you've heard of him. Worldwide superstar. He wants to be here in Tampa. I was in St. Louis at our opening day yesterday. I walked on the field. We lost the game. We don't need to talk about that. It was a terrible loss. Still a little emotional. But Junior Caminero comes over to me. I mean, he's like huge, right? And he elbows me. He goes, "We're getting that ballpark done, right?" And I said, "You like it?" He says, "I want to stay in Tampa. I want to stay in Tampa." So we need to make a decision. As a baseball team, as the owners of the team, we're ready to go. We bought the team with a commitment to Tampa. We're ready to write another check for Tampa to build this ballpark, but we need to know we have the community with us. We're going to work over the course of the next few days and weeks to present what will be the largest community benefits agreement in the city of Tampa's history. If you're not familiar with the way these projects work, you can look to other markets. Of course, we know the community benefits agreement on other smaller real estate and development deals. This community benefits agreement, we'll go forward a couple slides, will be a really collaborative process of putting a committee together of the right people to focus on the right priorities. Some of the pillars of our work include parks, public education, the slide, just go back one slide, sorry, before workforce development, affordable housing, small business. These are the conversations we get to have with folks like Councilman Carlson and his colleagues and Hillsborough County and folks in a room like this today that get an opportunity to say, projects in the arts are important, parks are important, all these other types of priorities, fire stations, really important, police, really important. How are we continuing to invest in those as a function of over-the-top community benefits? Now, I'm going to move into the financing of how we're paying for this in a minute, but I want to share the fact that this community benefits process comes over the top of the framework that we're doing in terms of the presentation of this project. This is money that the team will spend above and beyond the private commitment in pillars of community need, because we believe that for the community to make an investment like this, there are other needs in the community beyond solving this problem. And candidly, they're more important than what we're talking about here today. Go forward. Thanks. There we go. Thank you. So there were a few guiding pillars to our strategy. We sat down with the county and city staff to start building the framework of what a memorandum of understanding between the team, the county, and the city looked like. And the first and foremost to that is that this project has a do-no-harm approach. You cannot take money from any other priorities that have been committed to taxpayers, period, full stop. The team has been conscious in our work to make sure, we'll talk about CIT access and TDT and other funding mechanisms in a moment, but the team has been intentional to make sure that no money that was committed to any other project or priority is taken away to complete this. And you may say, well, how is that possible? And I'll show you in a moment. The Rays will spend at least 50% of the cost of building the $2.3 billion ballpark. The community, through a number of different sources listed on the screen, tourist development tax, identifying excess capacity above and beyond what was promised to taxpayers on our CIT from a couple of years ago. We've done the analysis, we've worked alongside the city and county, we've determined that even with conservative estimates, above and beyond the CIT tax commitment that was passed in a referendum, there's excess capacity. There's opportunity to make this investment and do no harm to fire, do no harm to police, do no harm to other projects, roads, schools, etc. that are critical. We're working to develop a bonding capacity with the Drew Park CRA. The Drew Park CRA is one of the lowest performing CRAs in our city, but not for this project. It would probably remain that way. With this project, the Drew Park CRA would be the second highest performing CRA with taxes generated for the entire community that can be reinvested back. We're looking at a number of other sources. 12,000 new jobs, 11,900 new jobs, $55 billion of economic impact, $34 billion, by the way, just from the ballpark and mixed use alone. And then when the two different economic impact survey companies came in, they said you have to look at what we call the halo effect, the space around the district. And they came in and they identified another $21 billion of economic impact that, but not for this project, wouldn't happen. And so here's where we are. We're working quickly. We have to open this ballpark by 2029. Folks say, why are you moving so fast? Why? I don't understand. You guys just bought the team. Let's slow down. Let's take a look at this. It's all moving so fast. The truth of the matter is, this question has existed in the community for over 2 decades. 2 decades. The future of the Rays is not sustainable at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. We bought this team because we believed in this community, because we do believe in this community and what's possible. But we've got to move fast. The Oakland A's made a decision at the beginning of last year to move to Las Vegas. They worked quickly with the team. They broke ground in August of 2025, this past year. They will open their ballpark in April of 2028. We are on exactly the same trajectory of a project. And in this project, the private side of the equation is nearly 2 times the size of what the A's paid to move to Las Vegas. We will begin construction late summer, following an affirmative vote, of course, by the City Council, the Hillsborough County Commission. We will work on the phasing of the project, but the first phase of the project guarantees that Hillsborough College will be ready in 2029, the hotels will be ready in 2029, the mixed-use retail development that's being paid privately will be ready in 2029, and the ballpark will be ready in 2029. We're also funding, alongside the state, the transition space for Hillsborough College, called the Nest, so that there's no student interruption experience through the entire process. Folks have said, where did the other students go? We're bringing in a whole new collaborative experience for students to study in the process of this transition, and that will be paid for by the Tampa Bay Rays with a little assistance from the state. And so, here we are. This is our moment. The ownership of your team is local and committed. I've moved my whole family here. You've seen the likes of folks like Will Rutherford and Dan Doyle and Fred Ridley and others that have said, this is for Tampa. This belongs here. I'll go back one slide, sorry. State, city, county leaders are aligning on a framework. I will leave this meeting today and go back to county and city meetings where we're working to finalize an MOU that we will see likely early next week. We're working on, not yet. I know, it's very exciting. I know we're moving fast, not that fast though. The college is ready to go. We've signed an MOU. It's been voted unanimously by Hillsborough College. We're in the process of finalizing definitive agreements. The timeline is achievable. It's been verified in other markets. We've got world-class designers, construction firms, local architects, civil engineers, all working. We have the full support of Major League Baseball. You saw Governor DeSantis on the ground here just a few weeks ago with Commissioner Manfred saying, this team belongs in Tampa. Mixed-use development models like the Battery have been proven. If you look at the taxes generated from those projects, they're right in front of us to show you what happens if you make an investment like this. The fatigue is in the past. It's been 20 years, and it's time for us to act. Our ownership group is committed, and this is our moment. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. But how about you take the west side?
Very much for being here, Joseph Citro. The city of Tampa has more Major League Baseball Hall of Famers than any other city in the country. Baseball belongs here in Tampa, has been for the longest time. You have a lot of people on your side. You've got Governor DeSantis, people from county.
Hey, Joe.
So far, so good as far as I'm concerned.
I'm backing you up on this one. What kind of timeline is Major League Baseball giving you?
Yeah, baseball has been pretty clear that if baseball were to remain in this market, as amazing as Tropicana Field is, and we're so excited to open our season up there on April 6th, and appreciative of the government in St. Petersburg to restore it post-hurricane, long-term sustainable Major League Baseball is not going to stay in Tropicana Field, and the team would have to pursue other options. We're not having those conversations today. That's not for this morning. That's not for this room. We're having this conversation in Tampa, and the community is going to have an opportunity to act very shortly on our proposal.
Hi, it's me. Thank you. So, I'm just concerned about what's happening in downtown and the Black community that got displaced because of all the growth in downtown and into their communities. We've got decades and decades of Hispanic families that have lived in West Tampa. We've been in the middle of 2 election seasons. I've been outdoor knocking. It's great that we have city, state, and local government people behind this, but people are not behind this that I've been talking to because we don't want to pay for another stadium. If you say they're covering $1 billion, we don't want to. People are struggling. Have you looked at the economic impact on property taxes for the people in West Tampa? I mean, and living around that area, the traffic nightmares, and it's great that you get roads and construction. But we have other things in this county that need to be addressed. And also, how are you guys going to get around the fact that 2 years ago, Commissioner Wassel and Commissioner Owen put it in the CIT referendum so it would pass that no CIT money would be used for any new building of stadiums? How are you guys going to get around that? Because as taxpayers, we feel like this is being crammed down our throats.
Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it. I'll leave the political questions for the elected officials. I appreciate the comments. Well, one of the reasons we chose this site, and we've seen this all over the country, is when you build a development like this, in so many other cities, people get displaced, they lose their homes, there's dramatic impact to a community. That is not the case with this project. There's not a single home that will be displaced as a function of this. That's why we chose this site. Now, is there traffic? Are those things important? This area already today, already in this location, takes on traffic for nearly 65 to 70,000 people for Bucks games. The Rays The Rays played at Steinbrenner Field last year, obviously smaller ballpark. Of the 30 teams in Major League Baseball, a survey was done, an independent survey of the easiest ingress and egress into the community. Out of all of the teams in Major League Baseball, the Rays ranked number 2. And so that community is used, folks that live near the airport, live near the Bucks Stadium, live near this Steinbrenner Field, live in this area, are used to seeing people coming and going. We're going to now work with the state to be able to enhance that infrastructure, to make it better, to be able to generate taxes in the Drew Park CRA, to be able to reinvest back into that district, to help the people that live in that neighborhood. And there's not a single home that's being displaced as a part of this project. And in fact, the folks that are the existing tenants of this location are unanimously supporting it because they believe in the importance of enhancing education in our community. But not for this project, Hillsborough College wouldn't have the opportunity to do this. And so there's always consternation with these projects. I understand that the concerns about CIT and CIT access. I will leave that discussion for the elected officials. I will just tell you that I think we're confident that there's a path forward to get this done, and we're committed to getting it done, but the community will need to act. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Ron Weaver, and are you willing to work with a dozen other beneficiaries of rail finally from downtown to you and the airport and International Plaza and Midtown and Water Street 1 and Water Street 2 and extract from each of them their 12th of what it costs to get us rail within 2 or 3 years after you open in 2029?
So, thank you, Ron. Ron has been at every single one of our community huddles. So, give him a round of applause. By the way, in every community huddle, he's sat up front, and he's had different questions, good questions each time. Ron, we appreciate it. You'll see later today a statement of support that will come out from the airport. You'll see a statement yesterday that was made by the Tampa Bay Chamber. There will be a whole wave of statements of support that are going to come across over the last period. You'll see a wonderful editorial from my colleague, full disclosure, a fellow owner of the race, but our former Speaker of the House, Will Weatherford, and I would encourage you to read that as well. The airport, Michael Stevens, and I would say I think we have one of the best in the country, feels really strongly this project happens. They understand the importance of investment in multimodal transportation. Michael Stevens has talked about the emergence of a light rail system that would connect with the airport into the development and potentially into the future, into downtown to alleviate traffic, but also to connect to our community. Imagine being in the development on a Friday night, checking a bag at a local hotel, going to a game, dinner, and then making your way by light rail to the airport, flying out with your bag already on the plane. That type of experience, that type of innovation isn't happening anywhere else in the country. And when you bring innovative folks like Michael Stevens, the CEO of the airport, innovative folks like the team at Hillsborough College, and Dr. Atwater and Paige and his team, incredible things happen that they talk about all over the country, that all of us as Tampanians can be proud of.
Good.
But it takes bold action, no question about it.
Well, what about the downtowners?
Downtowners will have connection, we hope, through light rail. We want to be able to create that. We know that we need that investment. And we think that there's opportunity. You and I talked the other night about bringing Brightline to Tampa. We're big advocates in making sure that that happens. The light rail won't happen, to be clear, as part of the initial 2029 plan, but we'd like to continue to lean on the state to help us with that investment. Thank you.
I'm aware of or put to a referendum. That is a red flag. I don't share your appraisal of the CIT tax. But if your timeline is so important and you can't wait till the first week of November of this year to make a determination, how are you going to handle a lawsuit preventing the Board of County Commissioners from using the CIT tax?
Yeah, I appreciate your question. We'll leave that to the lawyers and the elected officials to answer. We're developing a framework with the county and city. We will bring that to city and county council and the county commission, of course, and they're the elected officials, right, that'll be in the position to make that decision.
Taylor, huge baseball fan, grew up bat boy for the Lakeland Tigers. I'm one of the few South Tampa people that drive across the bridge to go to games when it was over in St. Pete. However, you mentioned the nest. We talk about homes that might be impacted. The home that's impacted is currently we have over 27,000 students enrolled at the Dale Babby campus. That's more than twice the second largest campus. Community college students go to Hillsborough College. Students go to the campus that's geographically convenient to them. It's the nature of the business. That's why we have 5 campuses. I will ask a question. I promise you. My question is, I am concerned about those voices. Those are the voices that I'm not hearing. We're talking about Hillsborough College that can't negotiate. The reality of politics in the world today is they can't negotiate. So, we're 27,000 students going to go to school in the nest for the next 3-4 years. I will leave you to answer.
We happen to have the president of the Dale Mabry campus.
I know her well.
I'm sure she'll give you a thoughtful answer to your question.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Chris, for the question. I'm Paige Niehaus, the Dale Mabry campus president at Hillsborough College, also a proud board member for West Tampa Chamber and South Tampa Chamber as well. Chris, your question is very important, and it's one that on the campus we have been talking with our students. We have been gathering what their feedback is, what their concerns are. Since early this year, the leadership team at the campus has been working very hard and very diligently to ensure that all of our current programs and services and student activities translate to the temporary space which we're calling the Next. We're expecting close to 100 portables to be brought in. Most of those, probably over half of those, are going to be actually constructed on site because they're going to be made to support our existing programs. In that space, we'll have our library, our art gallery, our student union, we'll have our trio, our student services, and all of the programs with the exception of health science in that Next site. Health sciences, those programs are not conducive to being in portables, so those will be at a site close to the campus to be determined at a later time. But we are listening to the students. It is very important for us. That is our number one focus, is to ensure that their education, their experience, what makes Dale Mabry campus thrive, that we continue that during the temporary space and then carry it over into the permanent space.
Good morning, I'm Gregory Wilson. Thank you for your very inspiring presentation. If somehow someone managed to collect enough signatures and put a referendum on the ballot asking whether to allow this grand plan to proceed, what would your message be, and do you think you would win that election?
So it's a fair question. It's really not a question for the Rays, that's a question for elected officials, right? We are the baseball team in town. We're presenting and putting forward a plan for the community. We feel like this is a responsible, innovative, fair plan for the community. If you look around the country at investments like this, there's not a like investment that has this large a private commitment a part of it. If you look up the road in Jacksonville and the work that's been done with the Jaguars and the investment that city unanimously made when consolidated city and county council to proceed with their project, same process through city and county council. As it relates to the sort of the government process, we leave those decisions to our elected officials. It is our responsibility to present a compelling plan for the community. It's our responsibility to present something that is fair, honest, to be out, to be transparent, answer questions, and ultimately leave the decision in the hands of our officials. We believe we've been responsible. We believe that by showing up and saying, look, this ownership group is taking 100% of the cost of the development, putting in more than 50% of the cost of this building, taking 100% of the cost overruns, taking on 100% of the capital maintenance and ongoing maintenance, which is unheard of for any sports facility, not only in Tampa, but in the state of Florida. We believe this is responsible. But ultimately, that'll be a decision for our county and state. Thank you.
And you certainly covered a lot of the conversations that we've been having in the chamber. One topic that has come up that hasn't been addressed today is with regard to public safety and hurricane preparedness. What role might you guys play in that?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that. It's a really thoughtful question. So we're working alongside our civil engineers here locally at Kimley Horn. Kimley Horn, one has also helped us from a traffic and parking perspective, which we talked about. But nobody, I would say, understands the impacts of hurricanes, but from a professional sports and community standpoint, in the last 2 years in the Tampa Bay Rays. We've had our ballpark totally destroyed, our roof destroyed, had to play an entire season not being in that facility, had to appeal to our city and county government to be able to have that facility rebuilt, which we're really grateful to be back in. And 3 years ago, had our entire spring training facility destroyed in Port Charlotte. So you better believe that as we're building this project, we're spending a lot of time thinking about structure, fortifying resources, and then working alongside the city to make sure this isn't just about baseball and the Tampa Bay Rays. This is about building a community infrastructure plan that will work as a nerve center for hurricane preparedness, for sheltering, to be able to thrive, not just for the purposes of our baseball team, but there's no large indoor facility of this size talking a 30,000 seated facility, probably close from a hurricane perspective, close to 47,000 people could be in this facility, safe, enclosed, not with a canvas roof like Tropicana Field. And that is a critical part of our plan. That will also be represented in our memorandum of understanding because we know it's the right thing to do.
Hello. I really appreciate the efforts the ownership group is making because I have a feeling that you could pick up the phone and call Orlando, call Nashville, call Charlotte, and they would fly you there and you would come up with a better deal than what you have here. Who is the person, I like to talk to people, who is the key people in the city or the county that I could call and say, I want to support this because I don't want this team to go to Orlando. I don't want this team to go to Charlotte because they will take you in 2 seconds.
Thank you. I'll repeat what we said earlier because it's just the truth.
I understand that, but
We want to be right here.
I understand.
And I want everybody to hear that because it's really important. Sports teams posture. This is generally how the game is played. You say, well, if you don't choose us, we're going to go here. And if you don't choose us, we're going to go over there. And they write letters to the community and they say, act now or else. Not how we're playing. And so,
They kill this. I mean, who can,
talk
fault you for
to the folks in the room who don't support it. And what I would encourage you to do in those discussions is make it less about baseball because I love the game. I grew up around the game. My family's obsessed with the game. My wife Liz keeps score at every single game. We love the game of baseball. It is my life. But this conversation we're having in this room this morning in the community is actually not really about baseball at all. It's about a proposition. It's about a proposal from a can-do group of people with deep Tampa roots saying, we want to invest in your city. We want to invest in your community. We want to bring 12,000 new jobs. We want to bring Fortune 500 companies here, not to some other place in the country. We want to bring a world-class education institution like Hillsborough College and take it from its tough, loved buildings that have been through a lot, that probably wouldn't make it many more years, where the governor of Florida has said, I want to invest in this. The legislature wants to invest in this. Infrastructure improvements. Those are the areas that I think I'd focus the discussion. As we prepare for these conversations in the community, as much as I love the game and I share the same sentiment you do, I don't want this team to go anywhere else. Sure, those things would be possible. This community has a chance to act first. If we wake up the morning of the vote and we're not successful, that's a conversation for another day.
Okay.
I hope that day never comes.
Me too.
President of the West Tampa Heights neighborhood, land development manager, father, husband, and I'm a neighbor to this. It's really personal to me. More than anything, my first concern is the big G word, gentrification. And during this talk, I think you both mentioned a halo of impact worth $21 billion to your presentation, while also saying you don't believe there's going to be any displacement. And then on top of that, I think this entire development, which I think West Tampa is a baseball city, or in a baseball neighborhood, and we love baseball. But it doesn't stop me from having anxiety about this. And when I hear, oh yeah, we're going to get billions and billions of dollars of local development, the first thing that my mind goes to is when my client put together pro formas, the first thing they think about is residential density. How many potential clients do you have on a random Monday night? And then they also talk about, I guess, making sure that there is a easy way in and out at all times. Right? Access to patrons is number one. So what is your response to calm our anxiety this will spur development, will spur gentrification and displacement.
Thank you. And I appreciate the vulnerability in your question because it's hard to stand up in a room like this and say, you know, there's folks that love it, folks maybe that don't, people have concerns. It's hard to stand up and ask those questions, and so I appreciate it. You know, I think the most important thing to think about in a project like this is how it serves not some of the community, but all of the community. And the intentionality that we're giving to the development plan, not only both within the direct acreage of what we're trying to develop, but the area around it is really, really critical. It should impact everybody in a positive way. But making sure the right guardrails are in place to confirm that that happens will be a function of the community scorecard that we plan to present to the community and meet with all of the different groups in the community to make sure that we're succeeding in it. In fact, we're building that scorecard into our MOU with the city and county to make sure that when you talk about, you know, serving all of the community, serving the folks that are in the halo, that as their environments and their neighborhoods grow, we feel like it's equally important to make sure that we, the Rays, are held accountable for the success of that. I think it is totally normal and totally reasonable and fair to have anxiety about change. Change is hard. But I would also encourage you this weekend to go drive out to the campus, drive out and spend 10, 15 minutes going through the parking lots and the neighborhood around it, and then imagine what's possible in terms of how we as a community can make that a better place to work, live, learn, and play. And ask yourself this simple question. Do we want this for Tampa? Do we believe, ultimately at the end of the day, that but not for this investment, these returns that, again, outside experts, it's not the Rays standing up saying it's $55 billion of impact, companies that want to move here, houses, affordable housing, multi-use housing, workforce housing, all those things are in our plan. The community ultimately gets to decide, and we feel as though it's our responsibility to make sure we do that in an appropriate way. And I really appreciate you being here and sharing those concerns, because as we leave a meeting like this, I get in my car and I call our team and I say, how's the scorecard coming? I heard a concerning question today from a resident who's concerned about people in the neighborhoods around the development. And you have my word, we will build that in our plan. And you have my deeper word, it'll be in our scorecard, and you can hold me responsible and our team. We're not going anywhere. We just moved here, right? And so you will see us out in the community, and I would ask you and everybody else in this room to hold us accountable for meeting the obligations and doing what we say we're going to do. Thank you for sharing that.
School when the Rays came to town, and by the time I was out of college, there was already talk about whether or not the Rays would come. As you said, it's been 20 years of discussion. How do you get Tampa into the habit of attending baseball? And so that my kids are not in the room listening to something like this again.
I think there's a really easy answer to that. Bring him. Go ahead.
Bring them to Tampa.
We can take a couple more.
Yeah, we have one more.
Ask y'all. My question is, too often we see these presentations, they're amazing. And the people at the bottom of the lower totem pole, like small, local, before they took these words out, minority, woman-owned, disadvantaged, small businesses, never really benefited. So should this pass, I'd like to see more of a commitment of how you're really held accountable. We know you just moved here, but it'll be easy for you to move back if you don't. And then secondly, I love the partnership that you have with Raymond James Stadiums and the field across the street. Raymond James is 27 years old. Soon, because they did renovations 10 years ago, soon they're going to need money to improve that old stadium. I just want to know if any of that includes how they do. Everybody have you all talk about that because it's good for you now, but when they need the money, it'll be
That's a great question. I'm going to say thank you. My wife wouldn't let me move anyway, so we're here. We're not going anywhere. I'm going to answer your second question first and the first question. we built a do no harm approach to our financing plan. And a critical part of that with the county and city, we're looking at all the other needs, not just for public priorities, but also to other sports teams. And we're well aware that the Bucks have needs, the Lightning, of course, have needs. Do no harm. Do no harm. And so when we looked at the excess on the CIT, and we looked what was available above and beyond what was passed, again, it's really important, this is not a new tax. The CIT was put in place for the referendum with a set of committed priorities in that referendum. And they were committed, and they will be untouched with this project. And those committed referendum priorities include money for the Bucks and the Lightning and the Yankees. Untouched. What we're saying in the community is this excess performs above and beyond what was expected. And we do have the resources to be able, and again, not just Ken standing here and saying that. Your county is saying that to you. Your city is saying that to you. Your financial experts outside the market that have come in, third parties have said that. This conversation is about utilizing, and the CIT is only part of the financing plan. Tourist development tax, the 6 cent, which doesn't impact any other teams, 95% of the 6 cent of the TDT comes from people outside Tampa. Let's make them pay for it. They're coming here, they want to use all of our new shiny toys. Let's have our folks coming out of the market choose to want to come and spend time here, but also invest back in our region. And so you have our word, and you have the commitment of the county and city that we've taken a do no harm approach, not only to other public priorities, but to our friends at the Bucks and the Lightning, the Yankees. And I think that's why you continue to see that they're standing by us in this project. I also want to address your first question, and then we'll conclude. Part of our discussions with the community come back to accountability in this report card. I just did a breakfast last week with the Black pastors in the community, and that's really where the scorecard became part of our framework. Again, coming out, we learn in discussions like this. We are so committed in our work, not only in terms of minority commitments on the job site and building the development and building the stadium and creating opportunities in the stadium for all, but we're also committed to making sure that Black-owned businesses and minority-owned businesses have opportunities to build their businesses in the development too, right? So this is small business. This is the community's project. You know, sports teams, it's funny, there are owners of sports teams. This is the community's team. I mean, that we may be the ones to sign the checks at the end of the day and pay the expenses, but this is Tampa Bay's team. This is your hometown team. We are simply stewards of your team doing what we hope you would do if you were in our shoes. And doing that comes with incredible responsibility on our shoulders. Massive responsibility to do the right thing for the community. Because we wake up here. We go to bed here. We've committed to being here. This ownership group not only spent $1.7 billion to buy the team because we believe, we are standing by right now in your community ready to write a check for over another $1 billion to do this and be held accountable with a report card that we're going to do what we say we're going to do. And if we don't, you can come right back after us. So it is an honor to be here this morning. We look forward to continuing the conversation. Some folks are really, really excited about this project. Other folks have questions. Some may not quite see or be a believer yet. Reach out to us. You can email me at ken@raisebaseball.com. I respond to every single message. Our team is prepared to have more dialogue like this in the community. This is a big decision for the community. We are out here. We want to talk about it. We want to engage. We have several more community huddles. They're all available on raisebaseball.com with locations and details. And we couldn't be more grateful for you being here this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you this afternoon. Everyone, see you this afternoon. Hang on. I'd just like to close the whole meeting.
I have to move over here. Thank you.
Everyone.
No, I'm sorry.
Where's your microphone?
I was going to ask him a question. I won't waste my time.